Hi, I'm Rebecca Bradley. It is Monday, the 8th of December 2025. This is the Virtual Crime Book Club. Today we are discussing Hidden in Snow by Viveca Sten. I read the ebook this month, so I am veering away from audio. I'm enjoying visually reading more now. Um, has everybody read and finished Hidden in Snow?
Yes. Well,
Yes.
not so much read as listened to.
Yes, I do a lot of audiobooks. Um, so everybody's finished it.
Yeah.
Finished it
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
about a half hour ago.
All right. Up the wire. That is me some months.
I
Um,
like it that way sometimes.
for anybody watching this as a video recording, this chat will come with complete spoilers. We will tell you the ending. So if you haven't yet read the book, you might want to press pause until you have completed it. Okay, so as always, did you enjoy Hidden in Snow?
Yes.
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 Really enjoyed it.
Really. Yeah.
I can't
Same.
wait to read another of her books.
Oh, I've read the
I
second
take
one.
I've downloaded the second one.
I have also bought the second one.
I was just looking at it.
Yes,
Hidden in shadows, I think.
yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
I
did.
wanted to have I was hoping something would happen with Anton.
Right, yes.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Though I think they also played it with both of Anton and Daniel
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit.
I'm rooting for Anton.
Yes, because Daniel's not available. Um, I did have a feeling when I read this and finished it that this would be one of the more popular books because I'm kind of getting a feel for what the group
Mm.
generally likes.
Mm.
And I did have a feeling that this would be popular. Was there anybody that waved their hand and said they didn't know?
Yeah, me. I sorry to be an outlier here. I did enjoy it, but I wasn't totally convinced by it.
Oh.
Um, so I
What was it
wasn't one
that,
of the things I wasn't convinced by was the fact that everybody would have covered up the murder of Josephine back in Hannah came from. But yeah. So there were a couple of things I didn't totally buy into.
yeah.
But I found it pacey. I found it an easy read. I thought she was an engaging character, so I'm a bit on the fence with this one.
So it
I'm
was
a
the
bit like
history.
sorry,
Sorry,
sorry.
was that you, Divya?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
I was gonna say I'm a bit like Melanie. I liked it. I will read another of her books for sure. But it wasn't my favorite. I think there was quite a lot of characters a little bit at one point, and also yeah, I think part of it was a little bit far-fetched as we were going complicated, but overall I liked it. Yeah, just not like love.
yeah. So by far-fetched, you mean some of the decisions that the characters were making?
Probably just the storyline, like where it ended up from, like I don't know, okay, spoiler alert, but yeah, like basically from one teenage girl to like this whole trafficking and like yeah,
Yeah.
kind of that, yeah.
Okay, that didn't gel for you in the way it was done.
Yeah, maybe it was just a bit like, oh, okay, I guess that works.
Yeah,
As much of a aha, that's such a great fix, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And Mel, you didn't like the fact that she had to leave her old job because she was the only one that was doing a proper investigation, basically.
Yeah, I found that a bit far-fetched. I mean, I know there is a lot of unfortunately there's misogyny around and people stick together in police forces and as in any big organization, but I just wasn't completely convinced that one day she goes into work and suddenly her boss has tried to get rid of her just like that, you know. I thought that was a bit of a it was just a plot device, obviously, to get her out of Stockholm, but I wasn't totally convinced by that.
That did surprise me, coming from policing, that
Hmm.
in another country that you can just get rid of people like that because it's so much more difficult in the UK to get rid of a police officer. particularly once they finish their 2 years probation. So that was interesting that other countries do run so very differently, and you can just be one. In the UK, it takes a lot more people to make that decision. It can't just be the boss of the station you're at.
Does here too. Yeah, that happens. That's the same here too. You can't just have one person say, off you go. It takes there's a whole process, a lengthy process you'd have to go through.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know how realistic that would be in Sweden either, whether it was just a plot device to move her to,
maybe.
the out,
I
out of.
don't know. I didn't actually
Yeah.
look into it. I just took it that she was telling us the way that was there. So I don't know. We have a new user in the group. I'm sorry you don't have your name. Hello.
Hi. I'm just sorry. I realised that I didn't have a Zoom account anymore, so I had to hurriedly make one. I thought it was on Teams, and then I obviously didn't put my name in when I made the account. So I'm Josie.
You
Hi,
named
name's
that Zoom
Josie.
user?
Hello. Hello. No,
Hello.
I always use Teams.
Right,
But
brilliant.
hi.
Well, thank you for making that rushed account and welcome to the group. Just
Thank
jump
you.
in at any point. Did you enjoy the book?
Yeah, well, I am a massive Nordic noir fan, so I had already watched it on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'd
Oh, I didn't
watched
know it was on there.
the
It's
RA
on
Murders.
Netflix. The
Yeah,
first two books are in one
Will be
series.
our mysteries or
RA.
something.
Oh, yeah,
All right,
yeah,
thank you.
yes, exactly.
Or
So I was so excited to actually get the opportunity to read the book, and I must admit I do agree with the comments previously put forward, and I did make some notes on that, but I won't go over those again, but I actually really enjoyed it, and I really couldn't, even though it was a little bit far-fetched, and I thought that the tempo changed at the end and it became even more far-fetched and ridiculous, but I actually found it a really good read. I just couldn't put it down. I read it really quickly in about 2 days, and then I liked it so much that I bought all the other books. So I then read what was that one called? Hidden in Snow or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Shadow. Was it
Yeah.
Hidden in?
First one is
Shadows.
Hidden
In
in Snow that we've
Snow.
read, and then
Yeah.
it's Hidden in
And
Shadows.
and then I've now read Hidden in Shadows again.
Mm.
I like books where they carry on with the same kind of character, so the same people are in it. So I read that in a couple of days. And I haven't started the other one, but just very, very quickly, what I love about this book is it's very descriptive, and I just love the whole Nordic scene with the snow and it reminds me a bit of Handmaid's Tale with the white snow and then the colour against it, like the yellow. It was the yellow tank top in this one, wasn't it? I'm getting confused with the other book now, and the red scarf and all that kind of imagery. I just really like, I kind of get really sort of excited by the whole kind of Nordic, I don't know, the whole kind of, I don't know, it gives it a really nice backdrop to a murder mystery. So in that respect, I really, really enjoyed it, even though it did have a few, silly sort of narrative, sort of silly kind of descriptive errors, and it got a bit far-fetched, but I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Just for me personally, what is the series called on Netflix?
RAARE.
Oh, so it's actually called that.
The
RA
RA Murders.
Murders.
I think it is. Am I right?
Yes, it is.
I
Yeah.
think it was.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
A with
Yeah.
a round on top. Yeah.
I will look that up. And is it as good as the book?
No, I didn't think so.
No, but I
They
think no. Sorry, you speak. Sorry.
sorry, they changed quite a few details that were quite important, I thought, in the book. And the first book is taking 4 episodes, and the second book only 2 episodes. So it sounds like they were rushed and they weren't told the budget was cut down or whatever, but it was quite awful.
I
No,
will
yeah,
have a look
but
anyway.
it's worth watching it. I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
just to
Fun
compare.
to watch when you read a book and see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else said this about the book, but I found, having now read 2 of them, I think they've been really well translated. They don't feel
Yeah.
like they've been written in,
Yeah.
Swedish and translated into English. They feel like, as good as
The translation
yeah,
is good.
I felt like
Yeah,
it
the
was translated.
translation was
I
brilliant.
felt like I had to get used to that. And once I got used to it, like I was critical of that in the beginning the first half of the book. And then I
okay.
got more comfortable with it, and it actually was very simple, felt very simple. Like the
Yeah.
reading was very, very simplified, but in a good
fluid.
way. Like I enjoyed it.
It
Sometimes
made
you
it
read
smooth and
something
flow.
just
Yeah.
overly complicated and overly descriptive. And
Yeah.
so I quite enjoyed how simply maybe
Yeah.
it's more, you know, colorfully written in its original language. I don't know, but I got used to it and I liked it, but I found that maybe I don't read many books that have been translated. So
Yeah.
for me, it was
Fair
weird.
point.
I also thought at one point I did sort of like want to push through some of the extra dramas about each person's life. Like there was a little too dramatic, like
Yeah.
this one and that one, and they just kept carrying on with all the drama. Like could have cut back maybe a little, but I did enjoy it, and I do want to read the next one. But
Yeah.
that's just being critical, I think.
Did somebody shout up and say they were also new to the group? Must have been an echo, sorry. I just thought I recognised everybody, but I thought I'd heard somebody say that they were also new. So sorry. So what did people enjoy about Hidden in Snow then, particularly?
I think the sense
like,
of place, somebody's touched on that already, but you almost felt like you were shivering watching it. It was a real good sense of place, and the characterizations, and I know just now it was said that maybe it was a bit too dramatic, but I really liked all the human frailties of each of the characters, and it just made them more realistic to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's you know, I really felt like I was, like you say, sort of wading through snowdrifts and seeing lovely colourful wooden cottages and fir trees, and you know, the colours that really stood out. Like I said before, the red scarf and the yellow tank top, it all sort of stood out against the snow, and I found it quite evocative, quite you know, I liked all that description. So that, to me, that kind of made the sort of maybe silly elements less silly, because I just felt like I was immersed in this, you know, in this cold
It was interesting because I've never been to Sweden, and my daughter was just there and she was describing it to me, and I felt like, oh, you know, it's good timing to read it because I get calls and it was dark and it was like, you know, so I enjoyed the mood of it and the descriptive. I think I'll go in the summer.
I liked all of those as well, and actually I think she did a great job of having the environment always present, you know, without endless descriptions of mountains and snow. I thought it was very deftly handled. You know, they were always there. We were always aware of it. And I also thought, and the characterization, I think it was Laura who mentioned it. You know, I thought actually, again, she did a really great job of giving us enough backstory about each, because there's quite a lot of characters in it. Giving us enough backstory about each character for us to care about them, but not so much as to make it deeply tedious. You know, so I think she did a really good job of that as well. And I think like a lot of the others, I felt that it's some things were a bit unbelievable, especially this bit about the you know, her backstory and being kicked out of Gothenburg or wherever it was originally. You know, that was quite weird. And I sometimes thought the book went a bit sort of lecturing almost, but it was lecturing on good things, you know, on things that were important, if that makes sense. So I didn't mind that, but I felt it kind of slightly at times, you know, went into that sort of, you know, quite lecturing mode. But yeah, things that need lecturing about, definitely.
Yeah, I enjoyed the setting. I like cold settings, and also it felt kind of, I don't know whether it said the size of the place they're in, but it felt quite small and isolated. So I then went and put Sweden, because also I've never been, on my bucket list because I enjoyed the setting in it so much. So we have touched on the fact that there was a lot of not so it was backstory, but also personal lives of the characters. That there was a lot about the characters. How did you feel that the personal trauma or stuff from Hannah's coming into the story led her behavior in the investigation? Did it impact her, or was it not important?
That's a good question.
No, I think it was completely important because she, sorry, I've been watching something else, so I don't want to get confused with what I've been watching. It was also very similar, but my understanding is that she got sacked from the police because she'd been sort of challenging somebody else who'd been domestically violent towards, is that right? Towards their wife or something. And yeah, so I think she was very, very, very drawn into defending women and almost seeking that out. So I think that was, she was very, very shaped by that. And that and it's also in the second book it comes out again. So it's definitely something that has shaped her mindset, really. She's very, 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 driven to kind of looking after women who have been domestically abused, etc.
Yeah. Did that make her too rash in her exchange with her sister's cleaner when she dropped something? The cleaner got upset, and that sent Hannah on this kind of, well, we thought it was a side quest, but it does turn out to marry up. How did you feel about her?
I think
focusing on that.
I think her instinct kicked in. She looked at the woman, and because she's dealt with a lot of them, she could feel something in there. I believed it.
Yeah, because it has everything to do with her background, because her background was dealing with domestic violence and crimes against women. I think she was more prepared to detect the signs of violence towards women. I had seen the TV series, so when I was reading it, I was remember it. Yeah. I didn't remember it, but I was reading. I was like, okay, I remember.
It was familiar.
So I knew already more or less what was going to happen. I read lots of Nordic noir, but I like this. This one is a soft Nordic noir for me. I like the ones that are even more like darker than these ones because they are
cozy Nordic.
Yeah, this is it's okay. Okay, the mom also dies, the dad goes, it's arrested, so there are lots of things going on.
Relatively cozy.
Yeah, but she's okay. She's the detective Hanna. She's flawless. She has lots of flaws, but she's not totally traumatized by something like it always happens in the Nordic noir books. But I've enjoyed it. I also like the setting, and I didn't actually felt that was so far-fetched because now we are always reading all these novels where they have I don't know how many twists at the end. That you always end up with something that is like, oh, what the hell is going on? So at the end I was like, okay, it makes sense. It could happen. It's more believable than some of the other books.
So the person that the guy that was guilty, Bo
Bossa.
Yes. I don't even remember reading that much about him. I didn't even peg him.
He was the one in charge of the
person. I thought he was guilty I thought he was guilty from the beginning because he showed a very unnatural interest in the progress of the investigation.
Very creepy. He was very creepy.
I didn't understand that character. I didn't. Maybe if I would have seen the Netflix one, I would have saw his facial expression or something.
It didn't show anything in the series.
But in the series, it's slightly different, no? Because I think at the end, it's his wife that is guilty.
Yes, rather than him. Yeah, something
I think there was something different, but I don't remember anymore.
It was complicated.
Can I just ask, was it a bit of a coincidence that Bossa was out there in the snow driving around and bumped into her on the road there?
Yeah. No, he was looking for her.
Had he been stalking her? Because when she left the party,
I think it was a coincidence.
Or he happened to be there to give her a lift.
I just finished it, so it's just like he happened to be there. It's a stroke of luck.
But he,
she almost got away.
After her.
She almost got away because he was like warning her, "Don't make waves." But then she was like, "No, I'm going to tell my dad."
But she lost it. Yeah.
Oh, why was she found in her underwear? You know, I don't think there was any sort of sexual motive.
No, it was a device to prevent her from escaping. Because if
to
you
get
are
her
in a
outside.
cottage in the middle of the snow with -20, you don't go outside.
No,
your underwear.
But she wasn't meant to die. She
No.
wasn't meant to die. It was just to scare her.
Yeah.
What's he going to do with her if she wasn't meant to die? He couldn't have kept her there forever, could he?
No. And somebody that lives in those temperatures, he knows she's going to die.
Mm.
Then why did he bring her back? Why did he put her back? Why didn't he just hide it?
Because he regretted it, and he wanted
he didn't want
the parents
her
to
die.
find her.
Yeah.
He didn't intend to kill her. It was just he didn't know what to do with her, and I don't know. He says that he didn't think that she would spend all the wood so fast, and then at the end she died. And
But in a way, it demonstrates the fact that this is quite a nice sort of almost like midsummer murder type of thing. It's like a very cozy murder because it's quite small scale. There was not a massive psychopath, you know, with premeditated crime. Right. It's kind of quite cozy. It's just like people in the village, and also the little crime syndicate is really small scale. It's just like 3 girls, isn't it, working from wherever they
bumpkin crime.
Pardon?
Country bumpkin crime.
Yeah, it's like a really little tiny, you know, it's the cleaning company run, you know, by these people with like 3 little workers from, I can't remember where they were from now. Was it Bulgaria? Oh, right. Yeah.
Or maybe Uzbekistan, one of the stands.
It was, but it just felt like, this is not like a massive, you know, drug syndicate across Colombia. This is just like a little sort of 2 little people. And also when there was something in the book, I wrote it down, I can't remember it, but they were kind of found like almost like middle class little sort of couple having their supper. You know, was it the police who came in and found them sitting there just having their little, you know, I can just picture a little gingham tablecloth, and it just felt so
they're having wine and dinner.
Yeah. It just felt really cozy.
I suppose the bad guys still have to eat though at some point, don't they? Hanna is because of her background and nobody listening to her in her previous job about the domestic, is rather rash in some of this. She makes some decisions that she knows and acknowledges that she shouldn't be making. For instance, she breaks into the house of the people the car is registered to. How does she feel about her doing this?
Yeah, she breaks the law.
She does, and she knows that she shouldn't be doing it. And also, how do we feel about this? But also, is that going to get her into trouble in future books?
Definitely.
Oh yeah. Well, she's a maverick, and that's why she lost her first job.
Well, I wouldn't have done it.
No, because
you have done it, Rebecca.
Definitely not. I was definitely a follow the book.
But I think this is typical in the Nordic books now. The detectives always have their own moral code, and they don't mind breaking the law if they believe this is justified. I like Jo Nesbo, so I read all the Harry Hole series and also Department Q. So the detectives are always breaking the law more often than the criminals. So I think it's part of the thing, because the detectives are always people that have lots of issues, but at the same time a very strong moral code. So it's always this.
Yes, it's kind of this, the walking the wire, aren't they? As in they think they're doing it for good, but actually it's turning them into the people that they're following.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And lots of impatience.
They have
why they have to do things quickly.
By her actions. I'm sorry.
No, they have obsessions, and they have to get the person to do good, but they'll do anything to do it. They'll break the law to do it.
What were you going to say?
I was surprised by her actions with Christian. That someone who it seemed like a little bit of a lack of situational awareness. When she left him and cut up his suits and put mustard in his shoes and really caused a lot of damage, and that worried me. That so she has, she has some anger issues there. That I was surprised. I was wondering what the author was going to do with that. Because I don't know, I thought that was way out of bounds. It wasn't just like, dumping out his wine. So she did a lot of stuff. She dumped out the wine, she got up the suits, and so
kind of like that.
I can understand that.
Ooh.
There's a French.
Daniel also has some anger issues, doesn't he? Which
Yeah,
didn't quite get resolved. I'm wondering if that continues into the second book.
Yes.
There's clearly something going on there as well.
His wife was really I guess that having a newborn is really hard. It's extremely hard. And she wasn't giving him a break, though. I felt bad for him, too, because he's just trying to do good. And she just needed to give him a little time to solve the case. And every time he came home, she was like, so I don't know. I was kind of rooting for him.
Yeah, I was too.
I think it is, though, because clearly my daughter's just had a newborn, so it's fresh in my memory how hard it can be. So it depends how the baby is, and if wasn't she isolated? Her parents weren't around giving her support.
The baby was colicky.
Yes, so she'd got that all day, and then she felt on her own. And I think just newborns can flare emotions, can't they?
Yeah.
And because
but I come from a generation that when I had my son, I had to cope with it myself. I didn't have a husband coming home at night. He'd be off at the pub having a drink.
But even though it was a generational thing, you will have been tired out and frazzled, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I was.
Yes.
I was definitely frazzled, but you had to cope with it.
I used to wait for him to come home. Here.
I think the issue was that they didn't really communicate, or if Daniel had sort of called her and just said, "Listen, I'm really sorry, but this is a life and death situation with this young girl," and if he just even explained it with a quick text, but I guess he was so busy and he was just tearing around. But he did seem to almost prefer to be with Hanna, didn't he?
Yes.
Than with
Spent a lot of time at lunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that's a text takes less than a minute.
But
I
don't forget that this is also
to know. He expects
you Zoom user.
Sorry, I'm Josie. Yeah, sorry, I should have stayed there.
You definitely said it right about he didn't communicate. I did notice that. Right.
But don't forget that this is set in Sweden, where the culture is different from other countries. The Nordic countries have a different culture in terms of work personal life balance. They give much more importance to the family life. They will not work until late o'clock in the evening. They would always go home very early to be with their families, because this is a big part. So I think it's also, the culture is different, and men are supposed to help with the babies. It's not the women that should stay alone with them. I think Nordic countries are a bit ahead in terms, at least from my side. I'm in Portugal, so it's a bit different. The culture here is a bit different from the Nordic countries, because I have lots of friends from Nordic countries, and the culture is different.
Well, that's really good that you brought that up, Vera, because I think as we read it from the countries that we're in, there may be differences. I don't know what it's like where you're living, Divya, but here and the US, we're reading it with our own biases of how things are done, which is really interesting because I didn't realize that was the Nordic system, that it was more geared towards family. So it's interesting when we're reading translated fiction that we understand that things can be different, and to just open our lens up a little bit to what.
Yeah, and don't forget that during winter, and they have only a few hours of light, so people will always go home a bit earlier. So I think the mindset is different, especially in these small places. So probably she expected him to be at home, even if he was involved in this major investigation. And
But also they were a new relationship, weren't they? Didn't she get pregnant after about 3 months?
Yes.
Yeah. They were very, very new relationship. So that will have had its own impact on the way they communicated with each other.
Yeah, but I mean, he did throw his dinner plate against the wall, didn't he? That was a bit much.
He does confess to having a temper.
Yeah, absolutely.
But quite a few times he mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yes. He needs anger management.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a bit hard to reconcile with his position at work and his job. I felt like that was a bit disconcerting when he actually did that. Like, how does that affect?
Old school police work.
Rebecca, to answer your question, I feel actually more than cultural, maybe very, very much generational. I think Eileen mentioned about, like, I imagine my mom has often mentioned how husbands today are more involved in looking after young children than, say, my dad was, but not in a bitter way or anything like that. And just like how you mentioned with a newborn with your daughter, my brother recently had a kid, and if I were to think about if he were to disappear for hours at work and not mention anything and just appear late, I think my sister-in-law would be pretty livid.
Yes.
It
is. They are, because they can't tell you anything, and they can be quite factious. All emotions are heightened, aren't they? So it was just that kind of relationship for them.
So, looking at it, I think it was Chris who mentioned, I didn't realize this, but the temperature, was mentioned a number of times. So coming from a country where it never gets that cold ever, in fact, it does not snow. It was very nice, and I didn't realize how much I appreciated that small details. Where, because I'm not maybe used to snow all the time, it helped me get a sense of exactly how cold it was. And yeah, that was actually really nice.
Yes, I love the cold settings. We've talked a lot about TV shows this time. I've just finished watching The Last Frontier on Apple, which is set in Alaska, and I loved it so much. I said to my other half as we were watching, "Do you want to move there?" And it's just the fact that somebody mentioned, I think it was you, Divya, or Chris, about you only get so much daylight, and I think that would be the issue, not the cold.
Yeah.
So it's a very different way of living.
Yeah.
So it was.
That's what makes it so
have you watched Trapped?
exciting.
Yes.
Have you watched Trapped?
Makes it like because it's so unfamiliar. It's almost like kind of like exciting to like, oh, you have to be cold and you have to go out, and it's only light for a few hours. It's romantic too. There's a romanticism to it.
No, I think you could be right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Vera?
Have you seen Trapped, the TV series set in Iceland?
No.
Very good.
Which channel can I find that one?
I think I watched it Netflix, maybe. They have a couple of seasons, 2 or 3 seasons.
I think
the translation is Trapped. It's in Iceland.
Right.
So the setting is really good, and it's good dark all the time, and it's super cold.
I love those settings, and so everybody here, it was a character. Was it something? It was part of the book, the story itself, the cold. Somebody did mention that there was a lot of characters. When I'm preparing for these meetings, I list all the characters, and I've actually filled an entire page with characters this month. So were you able to follow who everybody was during
I think I mentioned that, and sometimes at the start when you ask what you like and don't like, I feel like my thoughts are still half baked, and then hearing everyone, it kind of helps me flesh it out. So maybe not too many characters as much as there was quite a lot of side stories going on. I know Clark mentioned that it was nice to be able to understand each character so we could care about them a little bit more. But I think some of them I just got a little bit lost in the weeds, and then some of the stories then couldn't be expounded properly, like the mom taking her life and just yeah, Christian, a lot of things going on. But there were also a lot of character names. I definitely had to using the ebook to the X-ray, lookup function and just be like, oh, that's the person, that's the person. A lot of names, yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned Lena, which was Amanda's mum.
Yes.
How do we feel about the portrayal of her grief at losing Amanda? Excuse me.
I thought that was one of the strengths of the book, that
Yeah.
it spent a lot of time with the bereaved characters and trying to understand them. And in a sense, it reminded me a bit of The Killing, because a lot of that is a lot of the interest in that is from the perspective of the bereaved family. I thought it worked really well. It was really interesting.
I also remind me of The Killing. The Killing is an amazing TV series. It's one of the best.
It was in Denmark rather than Sweden.
I thought the Lena thing was a bit too much, actually. I thought that was a bit, I just found it as a bit too traumatic having that in. I mean, I suppose it explained why Harold did what he did, in trying to seek retribution. But yeah, I thought it was a bit too over the top and unnecessary.
Well, I think losing a child is really traumatic.
Well, it is, but she'd got 2 other children.
Yeah, but just, it doesn't matter how many children you've got. If you lose a child,
it's awful.
It was interesting.
Oh, yeah, but in the book, I thought, and it was she just went to bed. You didn't hear any more about her or anything. She just went to bed. I'm just saying, people take it in different ways.
It didn't work for you seeing that so much on the page.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I was just relieved that there was no one in the house that was on fire because Lena died, and then oh no, then they're going to kill them, and it's like, okay, well they were out of the house, so that was like shoo, because I was like, I kind of breezed through those sections. They get a little too depressing for me. I don't like it. I'm a big avoider, so okay, that's sad. Okay, shoo, that's all right. I mean, I'll read it, but I was at least there was a little balance. It's like not, there was some okay.
I was glad there was nobody in that house when he set fire to it.
Yeah.
Because it was just like how the world had just ended completely for the kids if he'd have done that and somebody had been in that house.
He killed the dog, though.
Yeah.
It's very rare you see dogs killed in.
I know.
How did we feel when Lud died?
Well, if somebody had killed my cat, I would have really wanted to get my own back.
Yeah, it was a bit.
Their doggies, killed.
I didn't like that, having a dog myself. And then the references to the dog lying in a plastic bag in the garage was all a bit tragic as well. Or the dog's still there in the bag 3 days later, just sort of.
Yeah.
A bit too much to bear, I think.
The advice for authors is generally don't kill the dog.
Yeah, or the baby.
Get so much feedback from readers that are more upset over the death of the dog than the 6 people that have been slaughtered.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
There's a lot of human beings.
Yeah.
Yes, it doesn't matter how many people die, but don't touch the dog. So it was interesting to see it go there. And did it put anybody off reading?
No.
No.
No. I think it's a really strange thing
Oh,
with
because I think Ludi was really old anyway, so it wasn't like a puppy.
No,
three,
No,
he was
he
4 years
wasn't.
old.
yeah,
Oh,
3 or
it
4,
was
yeah,
old. Oh
No.
no, so I got that wrong.
yeah, it was
Sorry.
really young.
One thing I think the author did, because this is her second, I think it's her second series, is that, and this is another Midsummer Murders dilemma, is that they're in a very isolated, low-populated area of northern Sweden, and I mean there isn't much around there at all, and so it's interesting. She chose the murder was actually could be construed as accidental, that the boss or whatever his name was, really didn't intend to kill her. And because how many murders can you have in this small isolated area? And I thought that she used the death of the dog as, and it was never really clear to me, did Frederick, the husband of the PA, kill the dog? Are we certain of that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, to provide some additional attention instead of giving us another murder, which would have been really unusual because there just aren't that many people. So, but that and it created a lot of, emotional tension. To actually have another murder, it just wasn't, a human person. It was a
That's
dog
a good
person.
point about, yes, with it being small community, that then she managed to up the ante without just going off and killing somebody else randomly. Um, did How was everybody reading and trying to figure out, because we have quite a cast of characters, on who had killed Amanda? Were you trying to figure it out and did you get it right?
I didn't have a clue.
No.
I knew it was Bossy.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
He
An
was
unnatural interest in the progress of the investigation. Big red
I agree
flag.
with Clark.
He was a
Yeah, I
real
knew it was him
creep.
too. I didn't know why, but yeah, I agree with Clark because he was very concerned about the progress of the investigation and kept asking how things were going and where they were searching.
And he wanted to come
Oh,
out
yeah.
again and do some more searching,
Mm.
didn't he? Yeah. So did nobody go towards Lass then, the school advisor?
Too obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a group that has read far too many crime novels.
I was confused because they were too obvious. The main suspects were too obvious, and like there's got to be somebody that's kind of in the background that I haven't, because I didn't know who it was. I didn't focus on that Facebook. So it worked there. Her plot twist or worked for me. She got me on that. So
I
And
think
also,
the part of, oh, sorry.
go on.
I think the part about the plot twist that didn't work for me, again, I said one thing I didn't like, it was the far-fetched. I think it was the company part, because I may be mistaken, but when she first looked up the cleaning company, I think there was something like 20 employees. And for a company making that much money, it just didn't tally up. Like, if this is a very small business, how are we getting like 400 million? And at the same time, how exactly are these three girls being trafficked? Like, I just couldn't really compute how that escalated to the beating and then this killing and exactly where it went. Like, that was the part that I couldn't wrap my mind around. Not as much the far-fetchedness of her back, as in the Hannah being like let off from her old job, and I mean there were many things that were a bit far-fetched for sure, but I think this was the one, especially the number of employees, that kind of tripped me up.
Mm. The only thing with the cleaner for me was why the sister, who was very intelligent, didn't pick up how nervous her own cleaner was.
Well, she's never there when she cleans, that's why.
Yeah.
No, I don't think she'd met her, had she?
No.
Oh,
She
didn't
wasn't
she?
there. No.
I don't think she'd met her.
No.
Oh, that'll be why then.
Yeah, I think she was always away and she cleaned before she came. But Divya, don't forget that this was the Swedish krona. So 4 million is like
See, I completely forgot that.
Much less. 4 million should be like
that is something I didn't think
400
about.
400,000.
10 times less or
10 times
something.
less. Yeah, something like that.
See, did not occur to me. I was like, what? How much are they charging for this cleaning?
I did have to look up the difference between the British pound and the Swedish krona when Ebba said how much she was getting paid an hourly rate, and I thought that's ridiculous. So I did have to go and look up the difference between the conversion rate for that. So I did, yes. So there's lots of things you have to remember, isn't there, when you're reading a translated novel, how different things can be. So that was interesting. So
isn't this why we love translated novels? Novels from other countries.
I think we should read more translated.
For me, all the novels are from different countries. I never read the Portuguese crime. I don't think we have that much.
This is why we love foreign novels.
Yeah. I think we should do more translated, actually. I actually really like this one. We've gone on longer than usual, so I don't know what people are like for time. Were you happy with how everything ended and wrapped up?
Yeah.
Even though we're not so sure on the vastness of the trafficking. Because some people have mentioned it felt cozy and the Midsummer Murders kind of feel of it, but then you kind of reading along in that vein, and then all of a sudden, I can't remember who brought it up right at the beginning. You've got this trafficking from other countries coming in is kind of a bit unexpected. So
jarring.
Yes, I think it might have been you, Divya, that said it. So excuse me, did it work for you as a wrap up?
It did. To me, it felt like the whole story was the result of many human frailties. A lot of mistakes made, starting with the murder of the girl, which wasn't meant to be a murder. And that's why it being so complicated at the end it was part of, I think, the weaknesses that human beings, when they make mistakes and all that.
That's a good point about human frailties. I think there were several characters that had a lot of personal information about them. You'd got Hannah with her boyfriend and her job. You'd got a lot of information from Daniel and his new family. You'd got Harold and Mira, and then you'd got information on Victor and his past, that he'd been arrested before. Does all this personal information, I think you fall either side of this line, is it more engaging for you when you know more about the characters, or would you prefer to read just about the straight plot?
No, I think it's good to know about the characters. I enjoy knowing about them, because if they didn't tell you, you'd be wondering, and things might not make as much sense.
Yeah. I personally love learning about the characters. It's what keeps me engaged with a series.
Yeah.
Series, I think it's more important. It's what keeps you drawn back in, I think.
What was interesting with the comparison between this and the Netflix series was that in the series she doesn't hang around very long before she's been enrolled into the police force in RA. She's kind of turned up, and I don't know if there's much about her backstory in the series. No. It's kind of glossed over very, very briefly, almost as if, that's like irrelevant and boring. Let's kind of like throw her into working for the police. And she, from my memory of the series, she sort of turns up and sort of joins in with the search or views them searching for Amanda, and then somehow very quickly gets enrolled into the police force really fast. So in the book, I thought hang on, when is she actually ever going to start working for them? It felt like it was dragging on forever, and it was only like 3/4 of the way through the book that she actually got a job with them. So I did find that was quite interesting, the way they quite clearly decided in the Netflix series to perhaps, maybe
Cut
not,
short.
cut it short. Let's concentrate on the murders.
And you've just reminded me something. I'll just go into one more thing. Was when you were talking about her going into the search teams, was Anton's sister. What did you make of that? Because she was feeding Hannah information about what had happened, but she didn't want Anton. She didn't even want to tell Anton herself. And I thought it was very bizarre, and nothing was wrapped up about that. What did we make of? I can't remember the sister's name. What did we make of her and her involvement in it?
I thought the sister. Why didn't she just tell her brother when she's pissed off? Like maybe it was a girls' gossipy thing that she was being, or she didn't want to get in trouble or for gossiping, and so yeah, I'm like, why is she not telling her brother this?
I was wondering if the brother told the sister to tell Hanna, because he was really keen on her the brother was Anton was really keen on her joining the police force, and he wanted to, give her a leg up so that she could be the one. Oh, I've discovered this information, because it happened twice, and I thought that was kind of an unresolved clue there. Why did that happen? And does the sister, is she a character in the next story? And does this continue?
I mean, Hannah was really lucky in that she had Anton's sister, and she had her own sister who
I love Lydia. Lydia was great.
I mean, everybody needs a sister like Lydia, don't they?
Yes.
Is
I
it just
enjoyed that
another
character.
Is it just another form of misogyny? Is the sister unwilling to give that information to the police officer brother because of his attitude towards her?
I don't know. She doesn't really give a reason, does she?
No.
It's very strange. I'd be interested to see if that relationship is brought up again in the next book.
No, she just mentioned that he kind of brushes her off, and so he wouldn't be interested in anything she had to say. So that is true.
That's
Though,
right.
I
She
mean,
did say
at that
that.
level of information, you would think. I felt like I wanted to tell her, no, this is very serious.
It's important.
I don't think your brother would say this. And especially because we got to know her brother, and I didn't get that vibe from him, actually. Though you never know, people are.
But maybe sibling relationships. Maybe he was always like, little sister and leave me alone, you're, kind of thing. So that's probably it's a good observation, I think. Just maybe that's just how they are.
Yeah.
Just can't tell him stuff because he's always going to brush her off.
It'll be interesting to read the next one. Who's going on to read the next book in the series?
Already done.
Yeah, already done. I'm going to read the third one next.
Yes.
How many books are there in the series so far?
4, but the fourth one is coming out in March next year, I think, or May. But there's another series, and I'm actually watching that on Prime. It's called the Sandhamn Murders, and that is. Oh my goodness, it's just really enjoyable because it's even more far-fetched, but I love it. It's set on an archipelago in Sweden, and the policeman is quite a good-looking sort of action hero, and he does everything. He drives the helicopter, he drives speedboats in and out of the harbour, and it's just like Midsummer Murders, but in a snowy, Swedish kind of archipelago with lots of attractive people, but it's actually set in the summer, so they're all sort of swimming around in the sea and paddling, and it's really light-hearted, but I love it.
The Sandhamn Murders?
Pardon? Sandhamn. I think it's Sand. Ham, I think it's HAMN, Sandhamn Murders, and it's on, I believe it's Prime Video.
It's on there, is it?
I think it's
Can't read
Prime
that.
Video, but I believe there are 17 series of it, which but I've watched 3 episodes and I think that is one series, so I'm now on to series 2. It's just, and they're only about 40 minutes long, so it's just so enjoyable just to sort of turn on the TV and think, oh, I'll just watch a little bit more of this action hero.
English?
Pardon?
Are they in English or subtitled?
No, these ones are actually, if you can bear it, but I actually I love the sound of the Swedish accent. So they're in Swedish with subtitles, but it makes it even more authentic listening to them all speaking in Swedish. I love it.
Yeah, you have to stick the Nordic series in the original versions. Don't watch the American versions. They are awful because they did American versions of the Killing and Trapped. It's like, oh my God, don't watch that. Watch the original ones.
The
Americans
I quite like translated dramas as well.
Yeah. They're easy to follow because there's not much, sometimes when you watch like an American cop movie, I can't understand. I have to have subtitles on anyway because I can't understand some of the lingo because everyone's speaking so much and so fast. But with this, there's a lot of contemplating and views of the scenery. So it's not constant dialogue. So it's quite easy to follow, a little bit of a subtitle. It's not a strain on the eye.
Yeah, I quite like subtitled fiction. We've run for an hour, which is unusual for us. Does anybody have anything else they want to say about Hidden in Snow? I think this has been one of our more popular books. Go on, Clark.
One of the things I noticed that nobody's mentioned is that she gets ushered into the police station and shown into the room with all the pictures of the murders and details. And as far as I can tell, she never produces a warrant card or proves her identity whatsoever, which I thought was a bit weird.
Yes, yeah. When she's before they've hired her.
Yeah, they just seem to take at face value her claim to being a police officer.
Yeah.
Again, we are in a Nordic country. People trust each other.
Yes, did you notice the way she left the baby outside? Not her, Daniel's partner left the baby outside when she had a cough. Oh God, I hope that's not in the second one and not.
I think it might be, but it's fine. It's not a big plot spoiler.
Was it in the second one?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Well, it just goes to show how trusting people are with leaving their babies outside in a pram. So
they all have their naps outside.
Yeah.
It was interesting as a police procedural that they had forensic evidence, but they didn't have the results before the crime was solved.
I liked how realistic that was, that it was taking so long. Yeah, I did. So we have discussed this book, which I think is one of the more popular that we've done, and a lot of TV shows as well today. So I've got a long list of shows to look up. So that's good. Not for my time though, but yeah. I am going to stop because we're at an hour. Does anybody have anything else? No.
Yes, they have a nice Christmas, everyone.